Good, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Jason Weiss. I have with me today Stefan John. We are actually here together, and we figured that would be the best way to do it today. This 100% for enjoyment and entertainment purposes, and nothing here is legal advice. You are not hiring us, and we are not your lawyers. So we were having a little bit of technical difficulty, but now we are good to go. And there's our sign. Nothing discussed today constitutes legal advice. Should you seek legal consult an attorney directly. So today I have with me, like a Stefan John, and he is I want to say he's I what we're going to talk about today is a little bit more of what I'm talking with some consultants and doing some coaching with, and it's stuff that really prepare you for while you're in. And although he was prepared for this, he is he doesn't have the questions scripted. So we're going to go ahead and Steph, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we're going to start rapid firing some questions.
Perfect. So again, thank you everyone for having me here today. Like Jason said, I've been an attorney for 4 years, probably three or 4 years. I graduated from University of Miami Law School in let's forget the date, but
4 years ago.
Yeah. And this is my second job post law school. It's been great so far. I had a lot of fun in both my jobs. I've been into sports and entertainment law, doing a lot of business litigation, TCP defense, intellectual property, specifically trademarks, registrations, oppositions, and stuff like that. My background pre-law school is pretty much revolved around sports. I played college sports, coached soccer post undergrad, pre-law school, and yeah, what brings me to law today is my interest in sports and the law, and just finding a way to, I guess, create that connection and sort of protect businesses, entrepreneurs, athletes, agents, anyone, and just kind of get the job done, and while allowing them to focus on what need to focus on.
So he said a lot of things, and I'm going to dissect this slowly, right? So you went to college, and then you took some time off between college and law school?
That's correct.
In college, time between college and law school. And again, I think we're freezing up a little bit. Not what's going on. We had exact college, took a little bit of time off to be in the sports realm, and then went ahead and it looks like we keep breaking in and out. We're freezing up, and we're just going to go with the flow here. So one of the things that I can say as someone who's been practicing for 21 years and having someone like Steph with me and by my side these days, which I'm very excited about and happy about, is the fact that he is an athlete. And I think that the fact that he was an athlete and that he still is, that he plays sports and he knows what it's like to be a team player. He knows what it's like to give your all. He knows what it's like to go ahead and do that. So for any employer that's listening, I would strongly recommend someone that was on a professional team or played collegiate level sports. I think it's great. The mindset is there, the competition, the drive. Like, you don't have to sit there and say, hey, where are you at with this? Where are you at with that? It's more like, hey, I just want to let you know I'll have this done tomorrow. Or, hey, we got a deadline tomorrow, Jason. I just want to remind you, what can I do to help? And that's huge. And they don't teach that in law school. So Steph, without getting into his family background and history, he grew up with a family that is very familiar with the law and the legal system. And so one of the things that Steph had going for him is he always would know and hear, and he could overhear his mom and his dad and his sisters and his brothers and his cousins. They would talk about law, and Steph was surrounded by the law. But one of the things that they probably didn't do is talk about, the everyday stuff. And now that Steph is getting more and more involved in files and more things, there are things coming up on a regular basis. The client calls up and they said, hey, I need this now. What do you do? The client calls up and they says, I have a problem. What do you do? Steph can attest to this. We have a client right now that we're literally $150 away from a settlement.
Yeah.
And the client is, adamant. We have another client that just sent over some documents and we're getting ready to file a lawsuit. Now that we got documents from somewhere else, from going out and just going on the internet and just finding the documents, our entire case might be shot. So let's talk about that. And let's start there. As a young lawyer, did they ever teach you in law school how to manage client expectations?
No.
Okay. How do you manage a client's expectations? You got a client and, everything is so personal to them. And Steph sat here with me this morning. We had a client come in and he was literally crying in the office, not because he was upset, not because he was angry, but because we stopped him, we listened, we talked, we heard him out, we respected him, and he wanted to hug me at the end of the meeting. He went with the fist bumps, but he wanted a hug. So how do you manage client expectations? And there's no right or wrong answer. Just a client comes in, I need. Now what?
So yeah, I think the first thing, the main thing is really what you said just now, Jason, is listening, right? I mean, yes, we're attorneys, but we also have to be good listeners. And to be a good listener, it takes a lot of patience. It takes a certain level of discipline, right? And I mean, from listening to your client, you sort of understand where their head is at and what their ultimate goal is, where they want to be at the end of this, right? And a good question to ask at the onset is, what do you want to get out of this? Where do you see yourself at the end of this matter, dispute, argument, whatever it is? I always want to find out what's the end goal, right? And understanding the end goal makes everything in between a lot easier, in that what they want. You may devise a plan with them as to how to get to that end goal, right? Because a client may come in and in their mind, as we all know, the client is always right, the customer is always right. So we as attorneys now have to take what they think is right and now put it into our sort of legal container and just sort of dissect it and sort of put it into different perspectives.
Now, have you noticed on some of the files that we're working on or some client things and things over the years, they ask you for business advice? Hey, what do you think about this? Or, hey, what do you think about that? How do you handle that?
So business advice, I mean, my first instinct is, well, we're attorneys, but at certain times you also have to take off your attorney hat and sort of look at things from a business perspective, right? You have to be able to not just be an attorney, but be able to think outside of the law and think as to how your client could better themselves and better their business, right? At the end of the day, we sort of pride ourselves on being general counsel, and we say general counsel because that's what we are. We want to be general. We want to be general in our services. We don't want to just strictly say, okay, yes, we're going to focus on X, where we know Y in our head could help our clients. So in terms of giving business advice, I mean, I'm not going to tell you to invest in this stock or that or those bonds, but our expertise and our education has allowed us to think outside of just simply a legal standpoint and really look into business decisions and what would sort of make more sense from a business perspective.
And we get it all the time. Like, what do you think of this deal, or what do you think of that? And my line that I've used, and I used it yesterday. Look, at the end of the day, you tell me the deal points. I'm just going to put it in paper. I can't tell you if buying, wholesale and doing this and manufacture this. And I can't tell you. I could do a search. I could tell you that if they've been sued, they haven't been sued, good products, all this. But at the end of the day, it's a business decision. And I literally got a contract the other day from a client, and the client said, well, what do you think? And I said, well, what's your margin of profit on the job? If you're going to make $5,000 profit on the job, it might not be worth it to sign a contract where you're going to be held liable. If you're going to make $5 million, then you deal with those hiccups. You deal with those pimples. You have insurance. So there's no right or wrong answer that we could just see based on, hey, what do you think of our deal? Well, I can tell you from a legal standpoint, you don't have a leg to stand on, or from a legal standpoint, you're good to go if you screw up, or you have to meet these criteria. So that's one of the things that we can't advise. Hey, there's a penalty if something is late. Well, could it be late? Well, yeah. Is the penalty fair? Yeah. Do you want to still do the deal? Yeah. Okay, we made you aware of it. It's basically, we highlighted the document and we brought it to your attention. One of the other things that Steph touched on is intellectual property. And I've done plenty of intellectual property litigation over the years, and I've done all of that. But one of the common things that we get regularly is, hey, I want to copyright this phrase. What do you think? And we write back, well, do you want to copyright it? Do you want to trade? Oh, yeah. I want to trademark it, or maybe patent it. No. What do you want to do? So, Steph, real quick for the novice and for the beginners and for all the smart people out there, copyright, trademark, patent. Quick differentiation between the three, and then we'll get into more of a dialogue. So let's start with patent. What's patent?
So patent, you really want to sort of protect a design, right? You look at, let's see,
or an invention.
Yeah, an invention. You look at the mouse. I mean, there has to be a patent for this invention, right?
And I bet you there's tons of them, because people go ahead and they can adopt, and we're not going to get into that. So when you say, oh, I need a patent, that means you have an invention, or you have the markups for the invention, and you want to patent it. No problem. Let's then go into trademark. So, hey, I need a trademark.
So I want to trademark my T-shirts, right? It's some sort of design, some sort of slogan. It's a smell, even, right? It's a shape that sort of links one product or service to a specific brand or individual, right? For example, the big ones, obviously, you see Nike, you see Adidas.
All right, so Nike, what you get it, right? So Nike,
swoosh.
Okay, so they have a trademark on the swoosh. What else could they have a trademark on?
Just do it.
Bingo. All right, now what about a copyright?
So a copyright, you're now looking at that's something that's fixed in a tangible form, like a picture, a photo, a painting,
a book,
right? Something that's fixed in a sort of tangible medium.
Now I have clients over the years that have said to me, well, I came up with this new business idea or this new website or all this, and I'm not going to move forward with it unless I can trademark it. And sometimes it makes sense, but sometimes I'm literally like scratching, like, okay, wait. So if you have a website and it's, www.bestinventionever.com, and they go there, who cares if you don't have a trademark on bestinvention.com? But someone will go in there, check out the website, and they can buy whatever it is that you need. So it's fair game. Anybody can use that. The only difference is once you have that trademark protection, you can go ahead and sue and get other people to stop, potentially get damages. And I know that's very, very, very basic and simple. I know that there's a lot more to it, but you can go ahead and move on with things without that trademark. Just be prepared that other people are going to use similar names. You want to stop them? You might be able to under common law. You want damages? Then go ahead, spend the money, hire someone to register your trademark, and then you can protect yourself. So back to, so we get those threes, right? So you get a client that calls you up and, hey, I need copyright. So, okay, walk me through how that dialogue goes. Hey, Steph, I have a great idea and I need a copyright.
So oftentimes copyright seems to be the go-to request for clients, right? And I mean, it's not really anything against them. That's just what they hear. They see copyright. But really, when you get into asking the important questions, okay, well, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you have done? What do you want to do in the future? Then you sort of peel back the layers and realize, well, maybe it isn't a copyright. Maybe it's just an idea. It's a design. It's a business idea that they want at the end of the day. So now you're now turning them from the realm of copyright into what should have been their first go-to, which is a trademark, right? And in trademarks, like I said, it could be a slogan, it could be a name of a company, it could be a design for your t-shirts, for your hats. I mean, for example, your son Logan,
Yep.
he has
long pole life.
He has the design, he has the nonprofit, he has the t-shirts, and Long Pole Life isn't just a name, but there's a design that goes along with Long Pole Life, right? So now we're looking at the name Long Pole Life in addition to the logo Long Pole Life that's now being placed on different sorts of apparel, t-shirts, hats. All right. So in those cases, that's what you wanna sort of emphasize the fact that, okay, are you using it in commerce, right? Because use in commerce is probably one of the main factors that the USPTO office looks at in registering these trademarks.
So how do you gently, politely, nicely, or whatever other adjective you want to use, tell a client, hey, client, you don't want a copyright, you want a trademark? Okay, so you tell them that, hey, but isn't a trademark more expensive? I just want to do as a copyright. Well,
so that's when we get into the sort of business talk, right? You're making what's the business behind that is you're not going to get protection, right? So now you're not going to get protection if you do a copyright as opposed to a trademark, because it's just two different aspects, right? So if you want to protect your business plan, the trademark is the route to go. If you decide to go to a copyright, then we're having a different conversation, because it's not helping your business progress, right? So that's how the conversation turns from a copyright to a trademark. I speak to the client and I advise them, hey, listen, from a legal standpoint, this is going to give you the best protection. This is going to give your business the best protection. And that's when it starts to make sense in their heads. And that's when the conversation turns from a copyright to a trademark.
And the best bet is, after that conversation, whatever the client decides he, she, it wants, you send them a quick email. Dear Jason, just wanted to let you, this will confirm that we discussed it. You're no longer going to do a copyright, and we're going to trademark Long Pole Life. Dear Jason, we talked about copyrights and trademarks. You've decided that because the filing fee for a copyright is much less expensive, you're going to go that route. I can't guarantee it. I mean, it happens all the time. I get called for what's called a quitclaim deed. A quitclaim deed is I own a piece of property. I want to quit claim deed that property to someone else so that they can own it. And I quit claim it over to Steph. Well, how do I know that it's being quit claimed? How do I know it's right? How do I know everything? Look, we run a title search. We get title. Oh, what does that run? Hundreds and thousands of dollars. Oh, I don't want to spend that. I just want the deed. I trust him. I know. Okay. And there's a disclaimer on the bottom. I've done the quit claim deed. I've looked up property records. Haven't done a title search. You're on your own. And sometimes you'll be lucky and everything works out. But more often than not, something's wrong. And then there's the blame game. And one of the things that that we try to avoid is the blame. Hey, we told you. No, you didn't. Check out the email. Oh, shit. You did tell me. Okay. So now what? Well, we're going to work with you. We're going to help you get through. We're here. So we're not just people that are, we're going to paper your deal and go on with your life. Like I truly feel that I develop, and it's to my detriment, relationships and friendships with my clients. And they call me up. How's your son? How's your daughter? How's this? How's that? How's your wife? How's everything? Hey, let's talk business now. Great. One of the things they'll say is, but don't bill me for the first 10 minutes of the conversation.
Always.
We're talking. No problem. One of the things, Steph and I were on with a client yesterday, both of us, same time. Between the two of us, that's probably $700, $800 an hour. I said to the client, don't worry. We don't bill you twice. We're going to bill his rate, or we're going to bill my rate, or we're going to bill one rate. You're not going to get an $800 bill for this conversation. You're going to get a $300 bill. And you know what the client's response was? That's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Why? Because we don't ever want people to not want to call us because, oh man, if I call you, it's going to run me $35 to speak to you for 5 minutes, or $75 or $100. I don't want that. I want a client to be able to call me to say, hey, I need your help on something. Can we set up a meeting? Yep. Don't bill for that phone call. Bill for the meeting. Of course, you're working at that point, but don't bill for that email or that phone call. And that's just one of my personal preferences. Steph, what's something that you feel that you do to make a client want to pick up the phone, want to call you, want to deal with you? Like, what's one of your things? No billing on the phone call. That's mine.
I mean, I concur. I agree with that 100%. Right? You never want to create a hurdle for the client. You always want to make life easier for the client. And by what I mean by making life easier, don't charge a client to call you than to charge them to get the help, right? You want clients, a big thing for me is trust and being comfortable with one another, right? If my client could trust me that I'm going to do my best to help them, I don't want to create more hurdles for them to get to the end result, right? I mean, it kind of ties back to my first point as what's the outcome? What's the end goal, right? I want to make sure that my client gets to the end goal as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible, right? And that includes me being cognizant about billing, right? I mean, a big thing with attorneys and clients is I don't want to go to the attorney because he's going to bill me. Well, yes, we are going to bill you. That's how we live. That's how we make our bread and butter. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to bill you to hear your issue or to hear how I could help you, right? So for me, I don't charge clients to speak and consult, but when it comes time to get the job done and answer their questions, then yes, that involves work, that entails taking time and research, right? But you're always going to run into the situation where you have a friend of a friend or of a family member who's going to sort of send you a hybrid text or hybrid call and sort of try to get some answers out of you before the clock starts running, right? But I mean, what are we going to do? Sometimes you win some, you lose some, right? But at the end of the day, like I said, my main goal is making sure the client is getting what they want from a broader aspect out of this and not just minimal response. I want to be able to solve the entire issue. And for me to do that, I have to now take in that client and really listen to that client. And if it takes 30 minutes of my time to listen to them, to then be able to assist them on a broader spectrum, then that's 30 minutes that I'm willing to give up in order to protect them in the long run.
And I think the most valuable thing is, Steph mentioned trust. If you got a client that's going to trust you, the client's going to tell you when they're right. The client's going to tell you when they're wrong. The client's going to tell you that I screwed up. I shouldn't have done this. I didn't screw up. I did this right. It goes both ways. We know when clients are telling us the truth. We know when clients are kind of hiding things from us. You're better off. You got that attorney-client privilege, which we don't have here, but you have the attorney-client privilege, and you could tell your attorney. I mean, other than few things like you're about to commit a crime or you're in the process of a crime or someone's life is in grave danger, like you tell us something, we got to take it to the grave with us. We can't tell that. Look, hey, I got a dog locked in the trunk of my car and I want to suffocate it. Yeah, that's one thing we might have to report. But hey, you know what? They're saying that I did steal that money on a wire transfer and I did it. Okay, well, we need to now go ahead and see what we could do to fix it, to help you, to make the punishment less severe. So Steph, what's one thing they taught you in law school at the University of Miami? Okay. What's one thing that they taught you that you found like, oh man, I'm so glad I learned this in law school. I'm able to apply it to like everyday life. It's the reason I went to law school.
It's a tough one.
Okay. Ponder that. What's something that you wish they taught you in law school that you would say, if they would have taught me that in law school, shoot, it would have made me a better lawyer, a better rainmaker, a better client, a better whatever.
So I think to answer that question would be client management. How do you manage client expectations, right? Because a client coming to you on either side of the V, whether they're a plaintiff or defendant, they're always right. Okay, so they want you to right their wrong, right? However they were wrong, you are now in that position to fix that problem, whether they're correct or wrong. You're now faced with making them correct, making them right,
without going to them and saying, yeah, I wish you would have come to me before you signed that agreement.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, when I have a relationship with a client, I'll say that, hey, you should have come to me before, but don't worry, we'll fix it. So, all right. So client expectations, and I interrupted.
I mean, you have clients who think that, okay, let's just say, for example, you have a dispute. There's a judgment entered against you. The evidence is pile high against my client, and now they want to. I mean, it's too late to get out of it. There's already a judgment, so now they come to us to sort of reduce their liability and sort of again right their wrong. So it's just a matter of, again.
Well, in that situation, the client will come and be like, all right, look, I got this judgment against me. It's $1 million. Offer them $200,000 and make it go away. Why? Why would they take $200,000 to make it go away? That's 20 cents on the dollar. If you said offer them $800,000, that might get it done because the time and money and all of this and all of that. So back to what Steph says, you got to manage the expectations. If they come in and they say, I got $1 million judgment, well, look, expect to pay most of that. Between what you're going to pay us and what you're going to wind up settling or trying to reduce that, you're gonna have to pay. Now, when you let the client know the expectation and you do better, you're a hero. But at least if you lay it out in the get-go, they're not going to say, oh, I came to you. You told me I can get it done for 20 cents on the dollar, and you got it done for 50 cents on the dollar. 50 cents on the dollar is a phenomenal result. 20 cents on the dollar, never would have said that. You wanted 20 cents on the dollar, and I said, I don't think so. Maybe 80 cents on the dollar. And again, a good thing is to, as an attorney, to cover your butt, to paper that. Dear Steph, we just sat, We just talked. We spoke to the client. Client said 20 cents on the dollar. We said, no way in the world. It's going to be 80 cents on the dollar. Client left, giving us authority to try to resolve it for half. Okay, great. You have notes in your files. You have notes in everything. You're good to go. You do it all. So client expectations is something that they really don't teach you in law school. No offense to law schools and the professors that are listening, and I taught on the law school level. What's another thing that you wish they would have maybe dived deeper in law school?
Dive deeper or dive at all would be teaching you how to politely ask clients for your bills, right? To get paid, right? At the end of the day, I say this frequently. I mean, if you needed medical assistance or medical help, I have never seen or heard of a situation where a patient goes to a doctor and says, okay, well, I'll pay you. I'm not going to pay you now, but I'll pay you 6 months down the line for this open heart surgery. No, I mean, if that's the case, there's some sort of payment plan that you already put in place with that doctor, with that professional, right?
I'm going to go one step further. What about you go to the local burger joint or the pizza place, right? 2 slices of pizza and a Coke, $6, $10, whatever. All right, $10. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give you 5. Well, great. I'll give you 1 slice in the Coke. All right, how about I give you 7? I'll give you 1.5 slices in the soda. All right, I'll give you the $10. Great. Give me the $10. Eat the whole thing up. No problem. Clean up. Leave. Credit card bounces. Now what? Hey, why didn't you pay me? Oh, the pizza wasn't good, so I stopped it. What? And we get into that because we are not just, we're a service. We give you the service, we do it, and unfortunately, most of the time, we burn through a retainer or we've already used the retainer, and then you pay. It's not a, here's your hamburger, here's our money, or we just finished eating, here's our money. And clients will, try to string it along, try to do whatever. It's very difficult. And one of the things that Steph is doing is Steph is developing his own book of business. And for that talks about clients. We're developing our own clients. The clients will call, and now, not all the clients call and say, hey, Jason, how are you? A lot of the clients are calling and saying, hey, Steph, I got to chat with you about this. That's great. He is phenomenal. Keeps them happy, emails them, communicates, gives them answers, does it quick, and all of this. And then he sends the bill.
Radio cricket. Silence.
Cricket.
Not in all cases, but
those of you out there, no, I'm kidding. So, but again, generally, so how do they teach that? They don't teach that in law school. So how do I teach it? He brings in client A. I look at the bills. I don't see anything wrong. Spelling looks good. Everything looks good. He sends it out. He has a collector, that we have at the firm. She can send it out. She sends the reminders when they don't pay. He gets on with them. Why does he get on with them? Because he makes money off of that. He has a soccer habit to feed. The man likes to travel. He likes to do things. He likes to live a nice life, and he doesn't want to sit there. And this is what we talk about all the time. I'd rather sit on my patio gardening or sitting by the pool to not get paid than to sit in front of my computer, do phenomenal work, and not get paid. I want to work. I want to get paid. He wants to work. He wants to get paid. And that's one of the things they don't teach you in law school. And he is learning very quickly, very nicely. That's one of the things that you do.
Yeah.
Hey, quick reminder. Oh, look, I understand things might be tight right now. Throw something over. You owe us $4,000. You want to break it up into 3 months? No problem.
And it all goes back to trust as well. I mean, you trust your client trusts you. I mean, we're not going to abandon the client. We're never in a situation where, okay, end of the month, the 31st, you don't pay by the 5th, we cut off communication. No, that's never the case. Like I said, we're here to protect the client, to serve the client, and to work with the client.
Hey, I'm traveling. I don't have access to the accounts. I can't send it. My credit card got stolen. My wallet got stolen. Zelle only allows me $1,000. I'll pay you $1,000 this week, $1,000 next week. I'll get communicate. Don't just disappear and think, no, communicate. We're human beings. It's and I take that all back. The one thing that I wish they would have taught me in law school, and I learned this over time, we're humans first. So me, I never want one of those vanity plates that says like #1 attorney or best attorney or all that. If mine would say Lax Dad for lacrosse for my son, Dance Dad for dancing for my daughter, #1 dad, humans first. Scott McGregor, who is someone that I follow on LinkedIn, who's a great person. He has these shirts, and it's the word people and a line in a circle, and then it's the word everything. People over everything. So I think that's awesome. And I think as a profession, we need to remember that. People come first. We're human beings. And I say this to people all the time. Look, man to man, human to human, man to woman, person to person. I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not going to default your client, or I'm not going to do this, or don't worry, we have the settlement, or I just finished a mediation the other day and the mediator's like, oh, we need to paper the deal up and all this. And I said to the mediator, with all due respect, the attorney and I on the other side, we know each other a long time. We'll paper the deal between the two of us with an email in the next half hour. No offense, Mr. Mediator, you did a great job, but you don't need to stay on because we don't need to pay you to spend more for the client. So it's always my in is there's a fine line between doing what's right for the client and doing what's right in your head and doing what's right to keep a good relationship with the attorney on the other side. And I think that's the thing I wish. How to balance all of that. It's like juggling, keeping all the balls in the air at the same time and doing right by everybody. And I'll never forget, and if this attorney, and I'm just going to use his first name, if Peter is listening, Peter told me one time when I had a tough decision to make for my business, having to do with someone who was working and whatever. Peter said to me, Jason, you're Jewish, right? Yes. If you told your rabbi the story you just told me, what would your rabbi say? And I said, my rabbi would say I'm doing the right thing. He goes, you can never go wrong. So to quote Mark Twain, to quote Peter, if you're doing something, you're never wrong for doing something right. And as long as you feel that you're doing the right thing and you're doing it, great. You want to go ahead and you want to do good by your client, you want to take less of a fee, go for it. You don't want to charge your client for the phone call? Don't charge the client for the phone call. And that's the kind of things that, yes, you might upset a managing partner at a big law firm because your hours aren't there, but at the end of the day, you got to do what feels right for you. And that's one of the things I wish they taught. Don't cross any lines. Do everything above board. Never, ever, ever, ever question that. But do what you feel is right. That's all I got. That's what I wish. So do you think, Steph, that going straight from, are you happy with the decision that you made to take time off in between college and law school? Or if you had a chance to do it again, would you do anything different?
No, I really wouldn't. I think the time I spent pre-law school, post-undergrad was time well spent, right? It wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. I think it allowed me to mature as an individual, as a professional. It allowed me to also interact with other professionals, which I think is very important, especially in this industry. Like you said, I mean, you're not only dealing with your clients, but you're dealing and interacting with judges, you're dealing and interacting with attorneys, you're dealing and interacting with mediators, right? And at the end of the day, you're building your reputation, you're building your brand, so to speak, amongst fellow professionals. And my time that I spent pre-law school allowed me to enhance my ability to interact with other professionals and to just to be able to sit at the same table at some of these executives.
And you treat everybody with the same respect. I don't care if you're the gentleman vacuuming or the lady picking up the garbage or the woman who runs the multi-billion-dollar company. Treat everybody with the utmost respect. yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No problem. I'll get back to you. And again, I mean, there are so many things that clients expect. And sometimes you just have to let them know you're on the same page. You're on their team. Hey, look, I can't respond to every email within minutes of getting it, but I'm going to acknowledge it through a text or an email. Hey, got your text, got your email. I need 24 hours to turn it around, because you kind of don't want to hire the attorney that every single time you text, email, or call, they get it done right away, because that means you're their only client. And, so again, respect of people's time, respect of our time, respect of people's ideas. And just, again, I think the main word that Steph hit is trust. You got to trust those that you're working with, trust your clients, trust your colleagues, trust the people we answer up to, the people we answer down to, trust everyone. If you can't trust them and you can't rely upon them, then what do you need them for? Unless they're there for pure entertainment, which every once in a while we need those, so that's why everybody keeps me around. I'm entertaining most of the time. Steph, any parting words for anybody that's getting ready to start law school today or return to their second year or third year of law school? Parting words, like, other than turn around and run or best of luck. No, but seriously.
I'm sure they would have heard those words before, but
from me.
But no, I mean, my sort of words, my only set of words would be to soak everything up, right? Enjoy it, immerse yourself in the culture, and be out there, build your resume, and look at other professionals in fields that you want to get into in law, and see what they've done, and just sort of emulate what they have done, right? It's really just about getting yourself involved and getting yourself out there, and that's really my advice.
And look, for any of you out there that have some questions, want to talk about trademarks, patents, law school, litigation, TCPA, any of that stuff, email Steph, STEFAN at JSWlawyer.com. Stefan at JSWlawyer.com, or you can always call the office at 954-573-2800. Phenomenal guy, knows his stuff, ready to help at all times. And as long as you're not calling him during one of his soccer games that he loves to watch, we're good to go. Steph, last question, and then I promise we're out of here. Favorite soccer team?
Manchester United.
Oh, there we go. So, hey, we'll be in touch. If you ever want to talk soccer, reach out to Steph. If you want to talk other sports, maybe. But no, soccer and anything that you need. And again, still have a little bit coffee left. I have just a tiny bit. I've been roasting like a madman lately. So if you want coffee, just email me at jason@jswlawyer.com. Tell me if you want it grind or whole, and an address where to send it, and it's on its way. I got about 4 or 5 pouches left. Then I got to pack up the roaster for a little while, and hopefully we'll be roasting and coming from a new location soon. So everybody be well, be safe, enjoy, and we'll be in touch soon. And again, I just want to thank Steph for being here today, and we're going to have him on again in a couple of weeks where he's going to talk about his love and host it. It's going to be all about soccer. And I'm working on trying to get a guest for Steph to interview and chat with. So
thank you guys for having me. Enjoy.